slow this down just a little bit. I think I can talk a little more clearly. I'm Ed Covert. I was the rector of Emmanuel from about 2000 to 2012, I think, before Shelby arrived. And I'm standing in front of our house in Fort Defiance, where we've lived now for over 20 years. Before us, Bev and Steve raised a family here. Before them, two very interesting sisters farmed this property. Their father enlarged the house in 1896. Before that, there was a smaller house, this side of it, and it goes back to before the Civil War, to the 1840s. And I have no idea of who lived here then. Now, this is not about the history of a house. I'm just trying to say that we really fill one small segment of history. We think now that we're in a very unique and troubled time with concerns about justice and especially with the pandemic, but there have been troubled times before. Our own personal history is very short. The history of a house can be, a community and a culture can be much longer. Many of us remember the early 1950s. That was the polio epidemic. Do you remember that, some of you? Do you remember standing in line to get your sugar cube to be inoculated? Do you remember when swimming pools closed in the summer and your parents were fearful to let you play with other kids? And there was nothing that could be done until a vaccine. And now here's something else too. When we're able to enter the sanctuary of Emmanuel again, I want you to look at that beautiful marble altar at the back of the sanctuary. I stood in front of that every Sunday for 12 years. And then I began to read the inscription one day. It's at the base on the left side of the altar. It was given in memory of Mary Green. Mary was a 16-year-old student at Stewart Hall. She died in 1917 in the great polio epidemic. Her parents, a devout Catholic family, lived in Baltimore. They rushed down, but she died just as they arrived in Stanton. Sort of a chill came over me after every Sunday then as I stood there, and I thought of Mary Green and the flu epidemic and things like this, and no one knew what to do. But life went on. Life will go on for us too. And there is something we can do. A mask like this is not a political statement. It can be uncomfortable. It has nothing to do with your personal freedom. It's about a core Christian belief, our concern for other people. It will help other people not be infected. So, mask up, folks. We will come through this. Life goes on. Mary Green, the polio epidemic, now the pandemic of COVID-19, life will go on. We are one small part of a long history. God's peace.